You know it's a shame. This used to be such a nice part of town. Next time, be more careful when you show your wallet.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of Digital Fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and today we're back at it with another standard deck tech straight out of Edge of Eternity Standard. And this one is an oldie but goodie, one I've been just waiting to upgrade ever since this set dropped. This is called JEAN-CLAUDE VONDAM, and it's using the brand new Sir Vondam Sunstar Exemplar in a Humans Tribal brew. You guys have probably seen my Mardu Humans lists from the past. I think the first one I ever made was called Mad Mardigan, and this deck is absolutely an upgrade on that. It's not fully human tribal yet. It's still mostly human tribal, but it has a little spice. There's one creature in here that's not a human, and we've carefully crafted the mana base to allow for that. And I think this deck is just insane now. We're using Alesha, we're using Sir Vondam, we're using some other new cards like Umbral Zealot, Sunstar Chaplain, and we've got some insane ways of snowballing value and constantly protecting our board so our opponent just can't get rid of our threats. It's absolutely nutty. Now, before we break down the deck and then get into the gameplay, I would appreciate it a ton if you would hit that like button. It does help this video get out to more people, it helps the channel grow, and it matters more than I can possibly express with words. You guys that have been around for a while, you know how much it means to me, and I love you guys for it. Thank you so much. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload. Tons of crazy deck techs dropping every single day, and some spoiler videos on the way as well for the sets that are coming out for the rest of this year, which I'm pretty excited about. But also catch me live Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/QuarantineCapricorn, because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. In fact, if you're watching this the day it goes live, we're in the middle of community night right now, so if you want to pop on over to Twitch, you can jump in the queue, you can play games against me all night long, you can try testing your might against all of the crazy decks I've been building ever since this set went live. So much happening right now, so come and hang out. I would love to see you there. You won't be able to beat me, though. That's a challenge. That's a challenge. Come on over to Twitch, call me out. No one's gonna beat me. I think we just implemented a rule. What did we do? King of the Hill? First person to beat me becomes king for the day. I don't remember what we said that entailed. But no one's gonna beat me, so it doesn't matter. Meh, I'll see you there. I'm actually super pumped about this deck. This is sort of an evolution of my Humans tribal deck, Mardu Humans, that I've run for the past few seasons, the past few sets. I keep iterating on this and making it even crazier. I think this version is absolutely nuts, and it does run one creature that isn't a human that we'll get to in just a little bit. We needed a nice replacement for Invasion of Gobakhan, and I think we found just the right card. But first of all, Sir Vondam Sunstar Exemplar is insane. So we named the deck after him, JEAN-CLAUDE VONDAM. This is a 2/2 legendary human knight with vigilance and menace for just 2 mana in the colors of 𝐒𝐿. Whenever another creature you control dies or is put into exile, you put a counter on it and gain a life. When Sir Vondam dies or is put into exile while its power is 4 or greater, you destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. Because this thing triggers off of going into exile as well as dying, it has built-in protection against any of the enchantments that exile. Even if it's just a spell that exiles, you still get 2-for-1 value, being able to nuke their best permanent when they take it out with their spell. So no matter what, this thing is almost always going to be a 2-for-1 as long as you can get its power up to 4. And since it gets counters off of literally any creature dying or being put into exile, it's kind of insane. It gets up to 4 pretty quickly, and this entire deck is built around just swinging every turn no matter what, because even if our creatures trade in combat, they come back every single turn with Alesha, a 3-mana 2/2 in the colors of Rakdos. She's got first strike. When she attacks, you put a counter on her. Most importantly, she has that raid ability at the beginning of our end step. If we attacked, we return any creature card with mana value less than or equal to Alesha's power from the graveyard to the battlefield. So even on the turn that we first play it, we can get a 2-drop back with Alesha at the end of turn as long as we've attacked with anything at all in our turn. So being able to swing in with a Sir Vondam and not really care if it you know, dies or lives or whatever, the Menace means it's probably not going to die. It's going to be hard to block while you're curving out. But even if it does, you just bring the 𝐻𝑒𝑟 Vondam right back with Alesha. And then once you get the chain going, you get things to snowball, it gets even crazier. Once this survives a turn cycle and can swing in on its own, it gets that counter, and now at the end of turn, it's going to be able to bring back a 3-drop as well. So the 2-drops are more important because you can make sure you get that trigger the turn that you play Alesha, but being able to get some of our 3-drops back is pretty awesome as well. The key is we need to make sure Alesha herself always survives, even if everything else is dying in combat. And to that end, we're using 4 copies of Bulwark Ox. This is the card that's replacing Invasion of Gobakhan in this deck. Now, it's not a human, so we did have to retool the mana base a little bit. We're still running Cavern of Souls and Secluded Courtyard to get mana for our humans specifically, mostly to cover our black and red needs, because all of our lands outside of that are dual lands that use white. We have 4 Sacred Foundry, 4 Godless Shrine, 4 Bleachbone Verges, and 3 Sunbillow Verges, because everything in the deck that isn't a human is white. So we can sort of walk the line there with having our entire mana base enter untapped, but play 3 colors, because most of everything that isn't white is something that can get whatever color it needs out of Cavern of Souls and Secluded Courtyard, and we're able to very carefully, with the right math, with the right mana base, make it work like that. So we are aggressive, we are curving out like crazy, and we are using Bulwark Ox in white to protect our board. Whenever this creature attacks while saddled, we get to put a counter on something, and then we can sacrifice this creature to give all creatures with counters on them hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Not only is this great for protecting Alesha, especially if she already has a counter from her own ability, but even if she doesn't, we can maybe use the Bulwark Ox to put a counter on her by saddling it and swinging. But what's really great about the Bulwark Ox is it works insanely well with 𝐻𝑒𝑟 Vondam, which, when you sack the Bulwark Ox, you get a counter on Vondam because of his ability, and gain a life because another creature you control died, and then the indestructible and hexproof that the Bulwark Ox is granting, blanket effect, covers 𝐻𝑒𝑟 Vondam because now it has a counter. So as long as you have a 𝐻𝑒𝑟 Vondam out, it doesn't matter if it has counters yet, just sacking an Ox is going to protect it and give it a counter, which is kind of amazing. But you can also just build up a bunch of counters over time with the Ox itself by swinging with it saddled, and in addition to the Ox, to have even more backup to protect our Alesha, we've got 4 copies of Zack Fair, which for just 1 mana you can sack it, put its counters on whatever you target, and also give that thing indestructible. So not only is it a way to protect our key pieces on board, but also put a counter on them so that they can continue to be protected by the Bulwark Ox, which is kind of amazing. We also have 4 copies of Veteran Survivors in the 1-drop slot. I think this is absolutely crucial in a deck like this because there are so many Reanimator decks running rampant. Omniscience decks are still around and rearing their ugly heads. So having a built-in way to not slow down on the aggro but still be able to exile cards from our opponent's graveyard is huge. So we're going to run all 4 copies. And then we also have just 1 Cecil Dark Knight. If we can flip this into Redeemed Paladin, being able to swing and give everything indestructible until end of turn is nuts, and helps us get those triggers on Alesha no matter what, which can be pretty crazy. Moving on to the 2-drop slot, in addition to the Bulwark Oxes and the 𝐻𝑒𝑟 Vondams, we've got Cathar Commando, 3 copies. We only need to get to 1 of these. Not only can it be super aggressive and keep us like jamming in like an aggro deck early on, even if we don't care about our opponent's artifacts or enchantments, but it's reusable artifact and enchantment destruction in a deck like this. We sack it for 1 mana, destroy their Simulacrum Synthesizer or whatever problematic permanent they have, and then at the end of combat, we just bring it back with Alesha with the raid trigger, and we get to keep doing it every turn if we need to, which can be incredibly insane. We've also got 4 copies of Sheltered by Ghosts. Just the best removal, and in a deck that's a creature-based deck that wants to keep swinging and doing as much damage as possible, it makes sense to run removal like this to get the extra value of the +1 power and the lifelink, and also potentially use the Ward 2 to protect that creature while we're curving out. It won't protect it forever, but sometimes it gives us breathing room for just 1 turn until we can get all of our our other protection online. So I think Shelter by Ghosts is an absolute must, and you want to try to land this on a creature that's going to eventually be protected by the Bulwark Ox or the Zack Fair or both. So you don't necessarily want to put this like on a Bulwark Ox or a Zack if you can help it. You probably don't want to put it on the Vondam unless you see a line to victory, because eventually you might want this to die and kill things and then come back with Alesha. So you do have to be careful with what you cast the Shelter by Ghosts on, but it can be absolutely insane in this deck. We're also running 3 copies of Umbral Caller Zealot. Just a nice sacrifice outlet that surveils 1. It's not absolutely insane in this deck. It's not super necessary. It's not as good as it is in other decks like Sacrifice or Aristocrat style decks. But because you constantly want something in the graveyard to bring back with Alesha, you could do a lot worse than to have this sack outlet, surveil to the key cards you need, maybe dump something into the graveyard with surveil that you're going to be able to bring back with Alesha. It's also a way to just organically just trigger the Vondam if we absolutely need to kill something, and then bring the Vondam back again with Alesha. So it does give us a lot of versatility in this deck. Again, not as good as it is in like Aristocrat style decks, but I think it's still a worthy addition to a deck like this, where we want to constantly have things in the graveyard to get value, and we do have some value off things dying, like the Sir Vondam. We're also running 1 copy of Reno and Rude. It's just like another sack outlet. Gets in early with Menace. Gives us a way to sacrifice one of our creatures if we don't have anything in the graveyard and we want to get all the value in the world off of Alesha to make sure we have something in there to bring back. But then in doing so, we just get to play whatever we exile off the top of our opponent's deck. Sometimes when we hit a land, that's really, really good. Helps us just curve out, gets us more land to play the things we need, and we just get back the creature that we sacrifice. We're also testing out 1 copy of Sunstar Chaplain, and honestly in future versions I think this card might go up to 3 or 4 because it's just been that good in testing. A 3/2 for 2, at the beginning of your end step, if you control 2 or more tapped creatures, you put a counter on target creature you control, and you can pay 2 mana and remove a counter from any creature you control to tap something. Not only is this great for getting counters onto things that you want to be protecting with the Bulwark Ox, but it's a nice way of getting rid of a problematic attacker or defender by just tapping it down. You'll see in the games we've used this to great effect against certain decks. Sometimes killing something isn't really on the menu, but tapping it down, making it so it can't swing, making it so it can't block when you swing in, is really, really good. And if you're having access to that kind of ability while also putting a counter on any creature you want to turn on protection, to get Sir Vondam up to 4 so that its ability turns on, to get Alesha maybe up to 3 so that the raid ability can bring back a 3-drop right away instead of a 2-drop. There's a lot of ways to just get little bits of value out of Sunstar Chaplain, and I think it's really great. Moving on to the 3-drop slots, in addition to Alesha, we've got 1 Kellan. Not only is it decently good as a creature in this deck, but more importantly, we can use Birthright Boon to find our Shelter by Ghosts. So I sort of view Kellan as a 5th copy of Shelter by Ghosts, and a way to just get extra value out of having to pay that extra mana, because sure, it costs you 4 mana to find and play your Shelter by Ghosts, but then you also have this creature in exile that you can play to get more value off of, and if you happen to be able to play the Shelter by Ghosts to the Kellan, all of your other creatures will get +1/+0 because there's an aura attached to him, which can be really, really nice. We've also got 1 copy of Anim Pakal in a deck that just wants to swing every single turn and not worry about trading creatures. This is great because it's going to keep getting counters, it's going to keep creating more gnomes that are attacking and just take over the board. We've also got 1 copy of Joshua, which I think is really good in this deck. Not only can we discard things to draw and make sure that we're discarding the things that we're going to be able to bring back with Alesha to get more value out of Alesha, but also we can pay 5 mana to flip Joshua. He immediately drains our opponent for 2, but then if we make it to Chapter 3, Flames of Rebirth triggers, and we get to bring back a total mana value of 6 or less from the graveyard. So if they did manage to kill our Alesha or some of our other cards, we can bring back a bunch of value with Joshua. We can bring back an Alesha, a Sir Vondam, and a 1-drop all in one go if we want, which is kind of crazy. Another way of bringing back the Alesha if they happen to kill it early is Scout for Survivors. I kind of love this card, and I haven't seen anybody else use it. 3 mana for sorcery, return up to 3 target creature cards with total mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield and put a +1/+1 counter on each of them. So at the very least, we can get back one of our 3-drops. We can get back an Alesha, and it comes into play with a counter on it immediately. Which means if we were able to swing that turn prior to casting Scout, we then also trigger the raid ability on Alesha, bring back another 3-drop since it entered with a counter, which can be pretty crazy. But then, if we don't need to bring back an Alesha, this thing can pivot and do way more. We could bring back 3 1-drops all at the same time, all with a counter on them, which means Zack Fair could have 2 counters on him right out of the gate and be able to give those counters to another creature when we protect it, which is nuts. But we can also do anything in the middle, right? We can bring back a 𝐻𝑒𝑟 Vondam, starting with a counter on it from Scout for Survivors, and also bring back a 1-drop like Zack Fair to protect it, with another +1/+1 counter on it, which can be absolutely insane. So there's a lot of versatility to the ways that you can use Scout for Survivors, and I'm kind of in love with it. But we don't want to go too crazy with it. There are some situations where this could be a dead card in your hand, if your opponent is exiling things, if you're just not far enough into the game where you're going to be able to get value off of it. So I think 2 might be right. In future versions, I might try 3, but we tried 2 here. We've also got 1 copy of Squall Seed Mercenary as another card that can bring back Alesha and some of our other stuff, because whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you get to return a permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So we can bring back an Alesha, we can bring back any of our 3-drops, we can bring back any of our 2-drops if we want, and he's also got Rough Divide, giving a lone attacker double strike, and if we happen to use the Rough Divide on himself, we can actually hit twice and bring back 2 3-drops, which can be pretty nuts. I think he's worth running 1 copy as just another way to bring back our Alesha, to bring back everything else. And then at the top end, we're also running 1 copy of Smile at Death. This is a card I would absolutely love to run way more of. I kind of love this card and I want it to be great so bad, but I don't think you can ever risk having multiple copies of this in your hand and being a dead card and just needing to curve out and just not being able to and not having the mana to play it. So in this deck in particular, I think it would be greedy to play more than 1 copy. But I think the 1 copy at least is worth it. I think it's fine even if it's a dead card early in the game to just have 1 dead card sitting in your hand waiting. Because if we get to 5, I want to remind you guys, every upkeep, this brings back 2 creatures with power 2 or less from the graveyard, and it puts a counter on them immediately. And most people confuse that with something that costs 2 mana. It does not bring back creatures that cost 2 mana, it brings back creatures with power 2, which means it can bring back our Alesha, which is huge, and it brings it back with a counter on it right away, which is kind of nuts. It also brings back 𝐻𝑒𝑟 Vondam, because that's a 2 power. It brings back our Anim Pakal, because that's only a 1 power. It can bring back our Kellan. It can bring back our Bulwark Oxes, our Zack Fairs, our Cecils, our Veteran Survivors. It brings back Reno and Rude. It doesn't bring back everything, right? It can't bring back the Umbral Caller Zealot, or the Sunstar Chaplain, or the Cathar Commandos. But it brings back the most important stuff, and more importantly, it brings back Alesha. So even if there is something we can't bring back with the Smile at Death, as long as we use it to bring back the Alesha, we then use Alesha to bring back that other thing we couldn't bring back with Smile at Death. So it kind of just snowballs into an insane amount of value, and I love it. Like I said, I think more than 1 copy in this deck would be greedy, but as a one-of, I love it. I think it fits perfect. And I'm hoping there is some deck we can build in the future where we can put multiple copies in, because I love this card and I want it to see more play. But either way, this is the deck. I think it's pretty close to perfect for now, but there is definitely some wiggle room on adjusting it for future brews. And I'm super excited. The deck is performing super well. It's getting tons of wins. I think it's kind of better than it's ever been. The Bulwark Ox idea is absolutely brilliant, especially combined with 𝐻𝑒𝑟 Vondam. So expect to see more iterations of this deck down the line, probably a 4-color version with green coming soon. I am just in love with it, but with all of that out of the way, let's just check out the games. We'll keep 7. We'll start with a tapped Godless Shrine. Place 𝐻𝑒𝑟 Vondam on turn 2. Human. Could also just play the Bulwark Ox. That kind of like that. Let's play the Bulwark Ox. You think Tanic combo is dumb? We can play a game in a moment, Panthro. Overlord. Sure. Interesting. So I guess we go like this. And like this. And then we saddle with Zack. We swing and we put a counter on Sir Vondam. End the turn. If they try to kill Sir Vondam, now it has a counter so we can sack the Ox to keep it alive. And then just bring back the Ox with Alesha. Just gets kind of crazy. We can just keep bringing back Sir Vondam if we want to kill things. Destroy all tapped creatures. So now they both get indestructible, and Sir Vondam goes up to 4. Insane. Insane in the membrane. So we'll swing for 6. Play Alesha with 1 mana up. End the turn. Bring back the Bulwark Ox. So now the Bulwark Ox can protect everything again. We can also use Zack Fair to protect Alesha. We just keep bringing back Zack and Bulwark Ox to protect the board. Kinda nuts. Kinda nuts. Yeah, the Tanic combo does sound pretty crazy. Alright, we've got a Yuna. We don't have a way to sacrifice Sir Vondam right now. If we did... Well, I guess we still wouldn't be able to kill the Yuna because of the ward, right? It's fine, though. Bring back that. Destroy a non-land permanent. What would you like to destroy, sir? No. No, no, no. There will be none of that. There will be none of that. We do not want to attack with Alesha, but we do want to do that. Alright, we will sack it. Hit for 7. And then we will bring back the Bulwark Ox to protect our board again. Except this time, if we really want to, we can sack the Sir Vondam to kill something. It's going to bring some Overlords back, which I kind of hate. But Sir Vondam should be able to just power right through them. This might be the best card in the new set. It is just that good. It's an amazing win con. It's really good at blocking. It has built-in protection from exile, like Banishing Light. And it always 2-for-1s your opponent. It's just kind of everything. Banishing Light. What would you like to Banishing Light, sir? No. We'll get some protection. We'll make our dude bigger. There will be none of that. Chart a course. Brings back Overlord of the Mistmoors, which is fine. What would you like to do, sir? Sure.
My calculations are correct.
You
When
silly
this baby
bastard.
hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
You survive. You also survive. And we'll bring back some stuff. Do you want to bring back Zack? So that we can get more counters? I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. What's up, Tom? Welcome to the stream, my friend. Well, this deck's pretty nutty. We've confirmed that Invasion of Gobakhan is unnecessary. We can survive without it. Destroy all tapped creatures. Do you have another piece of removal that you're lining up because you're tricky? No? Probably should have just let it die. I've got 2 more in my hand. But it's almost big enough to swing through his board, so... I think he just wants the 2 flyers. We'll block. And the life, probably. What's he gonna get? Probably the Black Overlord. Cavern of Souls. Human. Here we go. So you're gonna take 7. And lose your Overlord. Eh? Alright, you're gonna block those guys. That guy's got Menace. You're gonna go to 2. Really? I'll just win then. I'll just win, bro. Hit you for 12. Disappointing. This hand looks pretty okay. We'll keep it. I think in future iterations of this deck, I think every single deck I'm just gonna name after a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. I think that would be fun. Look forward to Bloodsport and Universal Soldier in the future. Deep Cavern Bet. Sure. Hit the Sheltered. I mean, you kind of have to, right? You kind of have to. And I guess we probably want to get the Ox out as soon as possible so we can start getting value off of it. And we need to get that second Shelter by Ghosts out ASAP as well. But we might want to hit the Annex. We need a 1-drop. That's what we need. We need a 1-drop really bad. We don't have it. So, is it more important to get the counter off the Ox? I don't want to play the Shelter by Ghost and then have him kill the creature that the Shelter by Ghost is on. So I feel like we need to get down a creature, put a counter on it with the Ox, get that protection set up. Yeah, that makes sense to me. We do risk him maybe drawing another discard spell for our second Shelter by Ghosts. That's okay. Let's do the Cathar Commando as well, because the Cathar Commando can eventually kill that Unholy Annex. Alright. Here we go. Shoot the Sheriff. Nah, we'll keep our 4-2. Get out of here. Get out of here. It's kind of a tricky turn. Let's do this. I think this is correct. Eat the bat. Get back the Sheltered. Play another Sheltered, so now it has Ward 4. Eat the Annex. Swing 6. Now, he could have an Edict-style effect and make us sacrifice a creature. In which case, we'd be in really, really bad shape. But the thing that's cool about this too is none of the rooms are unlocked. So even though he got back his annex, he still has to pay for it. Which is kind of fine. We just need to draw into some gas. Big time. Get the Umbral Collar Zealot out there so that we can Anim Pakal into a swing next turn. Demon Wall. But your annex is not unlocked, my friend. Alright. I think Alesha's just better here. Maybe? Yeah. Let's swing. Doesn't want to trade. We play Alesha. Alesha triggers raid. Gets back the Cathar Commando. And then if he tries to unlock the annex, we kill it with the Cathar Commando in response. Shoot the sheriff. Well, we will sack it to the Umbral Collar Zealot. Let's see what's on top. A land. We don't want that. No siree. Another deep cavern bat. Sure. Alright. He's going to swing for 1. I don't think we actually kill the annex yet. I think we just keep it as a creature for now. Alright, he's going to trade. That's fine. And the turn. I don't think we want the Bulwark Ox yet, because we don't have any counters on anything. So I think we still get the Cathar Commando back and hold up the ability to kill the Unholy Annex. We also need to set up for the fact that Bulwark Ox gives hexproof to all of our creatures with counters, but Nowhere to Run makes the hexproof not matter. So maybe instead of killing the Annex, we just kill the Nowhere to Run to set up to make sure we have our protection later on. Sure. Alright, we'll swing with everything. Get a counter on Alesha. She's got first strike. Oof, bad idea. Bad idea. Alright, we'll play the Veteran Survivor. And he's gonna scoop. Of course we got the win. The Alesha loop just never gives up. This looks okay. We have an awful lot of top end. Only one thing that costs less than 3. But I think we can make it work. We're on the draw, so we're gonna see one extra card. Yeah, this will be fine. Play Sunstar Chaplain on 2 unless we top deck a better card. Play anything we want on 3. We can use Joshua to dump things in the yard to get back with Alesha, which is kind of awesome. Roiling Dragon Storm. It's roiling. Dumps a land. Name human. I think we might want the Sir Vondam first. Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does. Come on, Ramil. Show me what you've got. Human. Guess we'll swing first. See what our opponent does. Absolutely nothing. Might be a waste to get the Alesha out already. I think we Joshua. And we dump things that Alesha can get back easily the first turn we play it. And we've got a scout for survivors, which is really, really nice. Consult the star charts, sure. Clearly he's playing control. I don't think he's hyper fixated on the Roiling Dragonstorm. I think he's mostly just using it as card advantage. I don't think he has a ton of dragons. He's probably got that one blue dragon. Stock up, sure. We definitely don't want to waste our Sheltered by Ghosts yet. But we have all of the recursion in the world. So we'll swing 5. Play Alesha. Bring back. I guess we bring back the Sunstar Chaplain. And now we have a pretty big board. We can almost swing for lethal. This right here is 11. 12 if we play the Shelter by Ghosts. Alright, you get something out for free with Kona. Is it Omniscience? Are you going to be one of those guys? No, Meringue River Regent. What are you going to bounce? I mean, that's kind of fine for us, right? And you station? Are you out of your mind? Bro is out of his mind. Playing the Ox would be really, really nice. But also playing Joshua would be really nice. Well, either way, we're swinging. If we play the Ox, we can saddle it just to get the extra counter off of Sunstar Chaplain. I think we just gotta set up, though. Dump a Vondam. I guess dump the Ox. We should be able to bring it back. Alright, let's see what our opponent has. I'm assuming there's a sweeper incoming, right? This is the best thing he had to drop with the Kona. I don't think he can set up to take over the board. I think he just has to nuke it. Roiling Dragonstorm. He doesn't really have an artifact or enchantment to copy either. Now he does with the Dragonstorm, but that's not the greatest. Kind of weird, honestly. Pinnacle Star Cage. But not everything is gone. And we have one in the yard. I'm tempted to just flip the Joshua here. He'll probably have removal for it. That's the only problem. Prime Speaker Zagana. That's a lot of cards. That's a lot of cards. Maybe we just need that Sheltered by Ghosts. I gotta think for a minute here. I could Sheltered by Ghosts and Squall next turn to potentially just get the kill out of nowhere. But this turn, if I'm going to play a 3-drop, I only have enough mana left over to also play a 2-drop, which would be the Sheltered by Ghosts. Kinda tricky. Kinda tricky. I think my best bet, 7, 13, 17, we'd go up to 17. He removes it and swings and we die. Maybe flipping Joshua isn't the best thing for us. I think we have to do what we can with what we have at this point. Maybe we should have hit the Pinnacle Star Cage, actually. Maybe. Swing 4. Play Alesha, since we have 2. Get back. Problem is we don't have any counters. So I don't think the Bulwark Ox is going to matter as much. Let's get back to Sir Vondam. What's cool is if I transform Joshua, the Shelter by Ghost stays on. Now, he could make another Pinnacle Star Cage. It's not going to get rid of Joshua, though. It's only going to get rid of Sir Vondam. So I don't know if he wants to. Joshua's the problem. We can flip it and do 2 damage direct to his face. And it'll put a counter on Sir Vondam. Because it's... Well, no, it wouldn't exile when it transforms, right? Some of the transforming cards exile. Oh wait, Joshua does exile. So if we transform it, we will lose the Shelter by Ghosts. That's a little bit worrisome. We can still do it if we get him down to 2 just to win the game straight up. Because it'll hit him for 2 as soon as we transform. Alright, he's just gonna bounce him anyway. Which, I don't know if that matters. I guess we'll find out. Llanowar Elves. Down to 4. Goodness gracious. What do we play? So many options. Think we need to dig. So we'll dump a couple cards here. Cathar Commando is kind of nice. Scout for Survivors to bring back the Bulwark Ox. and the Survivor. Sack to put a counter and protect. Alright. This is actually pretty good. Watch this play. Sack the Bulwark Ox. Sir Vondam gets a counter. They both get indestructible. Then at end of turn, Bulwark Ox comes back to protect the board again. And now Sir Vondam already has one counter, so when we sack it again, he gets his next counter. He'll have enough to get rid of a permanent if we need to. Which is honestly pretty strong. And the fact that Joshua can just flip to do 2 is kind of terrifying as well. He's going to station. Alright, he's got something big he wants to drop and throw in front of us. For sure. For sure. Dagia to make a Pinnacle Star Cage. That's not good. We need to get an extra counter on this. So we're going to sack the Bulwark Ox. We get indestructible on Alesha. We get to trigger Sir Vondam. And what do we want to bring back? The original Sir Vondam. Do we want a Sunstar Chaplain or a Veteran Survivor? I guess probably a Sunstar Chaplain. Plus he can't make another copy if we get rid of the original. Alesha has indestructible, so even if he had removal to follow it up with, she's safe. She can get back the Bulwark Ox again next turn. Swinging with a 7/7. I mean, I kind of like the idea of just jumping here and getting a counter on Sir Vondam. What does Kona put down? That's the question. Omniscience. Oh god. Oh god. Okay. Oh god. Please don't have a way to pick up your stuff. He's got 2 river regents already down, so there's a chance he's not quite there yet. I doubt it with 2 draw spells, but oh, he's got so much draw. Yeah, he's got this, I think. We were so close too. He was dead next turn. And even Cathar Commando isn't enough, because we need to kill 2 Omniscience. Well, I guess if we can get Sir Vondam to trigger and kill one of them. Maybe not. I'm surprised he didn't bounce one of the other river regents, though. I think that might have been a mistake. He must have another one in his hand. He wouldn't have made that mistake if he didn't. He must have his 4th one in his hand already. Kona. Sure. Not sure why he did that. Can't get another trigger out of it this turn. I mean, guess just to have a blocker? He wasn't able to go off there? Can we kill 2 of his creatures? I don't think so. Problem is we kind of have to, because he's got three dudes in the air. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 7 mana to do that. I don't know if that's enough. This is scary. I think we gotta get him to block with Alesha and die. So let's give her Rough Divide. There's just so many permutations. There's so many different ways we could go. I don't know. You guys are going to have to let me know in the comments if you saw a better line. There's like a million different lines, a million different ways we can try to approach this. I wanted to get out Sir Vondam and the Cathar Commando, nuke the Omniscience with the Cathar Commando. And then bring it back at end of turn with Alesha and nuke the other one. But then we've got 18 damage in the air from the Meringue River Regents. Guess we do this. Man, we are so close. We are so close. Consult the star charts for 8. So yeah, I guess we do that, and then that we kill them both. We just didn't have enough mana to do more. I don't think there's any way for us to gain life. If we had 4 more life, we'd be fine. But we don't. Best card to get back is just Zack. And unfortunately, it's just not enough. Just not enough. It's just not enough. I mean, we can do that. What? Doesn't that give hexproof? Oh, it's only indestructible. Eh, whatever. We lost anyway, so it's not a big deal. It's the Ox that gives both. Zack only gives indestructible. This looks mostly fine. This isn't really the hand that we want, but we can make it work. We'll keep 7. Toss down the Godless Shrine to start. Bushwhack to find a land, sure. Probably just gonna play the Ox. Ox makes sense to me. So we'll go human. Play the Ox. We can play Sunstar Chaplain next turn if we want. Use it to saddle the Bulwark Ox, swing, get a counter off the Ox, and then also get a counter at the end of the turn because we'll have 2 tapped creatures. Which honestly seems really good to me. We'll go human. We'll play veteran survivor. We'll play Sunstar Chaplain. We will saddle here. Put a counter on the Sunstar Chaplain. Hit for 2. End of turn. Eat the Bushwhack. Get a counter on the Veteran Survivor. So now we can sack the Bulwark Ox to protect our entire field. Mossborn Hydra. Well, that's not good. I think we might need to hold up mana to tap that, potentially. He could go nuts with it next turn. Absolutely nuts. We can't be having that. We can't be having that. So, play the Bulwark Ox. How do we want to do this? How do we want to do this? How do we want to do this? I guess we just pass, right? For this turn. We want to hold up mana on his turn and tap down the Hydra, and then we'll be in a position where we can continue to attack next turn pretty safely. We could probably just swing and bluff him, and he might be scared to block because this is like his whole board presence. But I don't think we take the chance. Target you. Go ahead. This chaplain is going to put in so much work for us. Absolutely crucial. Absolutely crucial. Alright. That's what I like to see. So we'll play Shelter by Ghosts. And then we will saddle with this guy. Probably want to saddle this one too, honestly. Put a counter here. Put a counter here. We can hold up 2 mana to do the counter thing again and tap something, but we can also flash in a Cathar Commando to trade with a creature if we need to. He should just block both of them and kill them, so that we have no way to protect the chaplain. But if he does, we're kind of okay with that. We get rid of both the chocobos. He's got no board, and we've got a decent board. And since he's mono green, he probably only has fight or bite spells as removal, which means he has to play a creature and a removal spell in the same turn because he has no board. So no matter what, I think we're in a really good position. In fact, he might be roping us here. He might be a little salty. It is what it is. Let's give him the shrug. And then let's follow up the shrug with a no rest, no mercy, no matter what. Which is typically what I say when I don't want my opponent to be taking their time. when I'm trying to tell them, let's speed this up. No rest, no mercy, no matter what. Just do the thing. But nah. Our opponent's too salty. He's gone. He's gone, gone, gone. This combination's honestly really, really sweet. Kinda loving it. Kinda loving it. Put another counter on the Sunstar Chaplain itself, since we're able to protect it. Although, it might be smart to at least get one counter onto each Bulwark Ox. That way, if he does try to play a sweeper, I mean, we're up against mono green, so it doesn't really matter this matchup. But in general, I think it's smart when you get into a situation like this, where putting extra counters on the Chaplains kind of win more anyway. Maybe getting one counter onto each Ox could be beneficial, because if they are going to try and sweep the board, you would only lose one Ox. You sack one Ox, protect the whole board, including the second Ox. Whereas if we don't ever put any counters on any of them, we're not really able to do that. Potentially even just get one counter on one Ox and not even worry about the second one. Because no matter what, we can always just crack the one that has no counters to protect the one that does. I think that would normally be the right play. Just not necessarily against mono green, because mono green's never going to be able to do that. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.